Hey guys, Jake from Evolving Daily, and today I want to talk a little bit about siphoning. So, a lot of people think it's old hat, and it might be to you. It's so simple, and people always think of putting their mouth on the hose and sucking it through, and that's dangerous, and you shouldn't do it. And I'll talk about that in a little bit. But also, people think, well, people only siphon out gas to steal it, and they do this and do that. There's a lot of legal reasons why you would siphon whatever fluid, siphoning water to carry it or to empty something out. If you're going to work on an engine or moving a tank or whatever, siphon it out. That way you can work on it. You don't spill fuel everywhere, don't spill water everywhere, whatever reason. There's a lot of reasons why it's good to know how to siphon. And I'm going to show you a pretty much free reason or a free way to siphon fuel or liquid or water, whatever it is you're siphoning. But a free way that you just need a little piece of tubing and you don't have to suck on it. One that's readily available at Walmart and places like that, and it's $10, $15. And one that is much more efficient and easier and all those things, but I have to order them on Amazon because I haven't found them in stores. So today we're going to be siphoning kerosene into my kerosene heater, which is off camera, but we'll try to get that, I don't know. We'll show you how to siphon some shit. Alright, so I have 3 different types of siphons to show you today. 2 are commercially bought as a siphon. 1 is just a piece of tubing. So we'll go from the one you don't have to buy, that you just need a piece of smaller tubing is better, and then we'll work our way up to the more specialized. Like the jiggler siphon I don't think is sold in, I haven't seen it sold in any stores around here. I ordered mine off Amazon, but so we'll go with the free one first because everybody always likes something that's free. So basically, anytime you're siphoning something, when you have your tube in, once you get a solid stream to break over and be below the level of fuel, running downhill to what you're putting fuel into, once you get it to have a solid stream that breaks that level, then the siphon just takes over and gravity works and it builds its own kind of vacuum. So a lot of people have seen where you suck on it. That's dangerous for many reasons. One, if you're doing fuel, you get fuel in your mouth. Another one is if you don't have a clear hose that you're using, then whatever was in that hose, you're going to get sucked into your mouth probably. And it could be dirt or cobwebs, but it also could be a bee's nest or some kind of beetle or little insect that's down there. So this way, this doesn't work 100% of the time. And I'm not going to show the sucking on it because that's just silly. This doesn't work 100% of the time. But especially with a smaller hose, if you can feed a bunch of this down into the container, and you should do it relatively slow to let the fluid work its way up in there. If you can feed it down in, sometimes all you got to do is put extra tubing down in the container. Then you'll block off your end so it's airtight. And then when you take it back out, you see where the fluid level is right there, and it's working its way back up. If you can get that down low and into your what you're transferring to, a lot of times you can pull siphon just by doing that. This one is starting to move fluid, and we'll see if it holds for a little bit, because the siphon can lose its prime and let it drain backwards back out. But we've been going for a little bit, and obviously I can't have the camera in 2 places at once, but it's producing a solid stream of fuel. And then if you're only going to transfer out a little bit and then stop, you're going to make a little bit of a spill, but I'll just have to do it and then show you. Obviously try to spill and have a rag around, but with a small piece of tubing you can crimp it off like that, then hold it above the fuel level of what you're siphoning out of. When you uncrimp it, it'll just work. Gravity works, and it'll go back downhill, and it'll drain back into your tank. So that is if you have a decent sized fuel source. Like, you can't do that in something that's really shallow or a tank that's almost empty, but just force feed it down in there, go kind of slow to let the air work itself out, cap off the feed in, take it, down to where you're working, let go of the end, and it'll start to siphon. So that is just with a piece of, there's no check valves or nothing special in it. It's just a piece of tubing. So one that is, just gonna have to live with that until it's done. One that is commercially available, and I've got a few of these laying around, is just a little pump siphon. And the way it works, I'm not going to open this up because that's what I'm trying to keep clean and all that for various reasons. But putting your tube in, pump, and there will usually be a little valve that you can open or close to stop your siphon flow. But the one that this is great for transferring large amounts or larger amounts. And some people call it a jiggler siphon. I think some places call it a super siphon. Basically, there's this brass fitting here, and inside that brass fitting there's a glass ball. I have to come behind the camera. There's a little glass ball in there if you can see it. That's probably why they call it the jiggler siphon, because it makes that noise while you siphon. But basically, as you feed it down in there, you feed it in, and then you'll push down faster than gravity. So what you're doing is when you push it down in, you're pushing it in faster than that ball, that glass ball falls back down, which however much distance you cover, you'll get a little bit of fluid. And then again, when you get it over that breaking point, you have a solid stream over the breaking point, it pulls siphon and then starts filling up whatever it is you need to fill. So you can put that in your tank, put the other end in what you're trying to fill up, and then you literally you can almost just shake it up and down. So just a couple shakes and we have fuel flowing. And this moves, I'll try to put in the comments below how much fuel it moves per minute or whatever. It's substantially more than the smaller hoses, obviously, for good reason. But then whenever you're done siphoning, you just lift up out of the fuel level, and that glass ball will fall down and kind of shut it off. You can tip it up and drain whatever is left in your hose into what you're fueling up or filling up. And if you're using this for fuel, I would always try to kind of hang this up in some way, or just hold it up in the air and let all that run out. And store any of these, store them in somewhere out of direct sunlight, just because if not, your tubing will get brittle and it's not as flexible and things like that. And I always try to wipe it down clean, just so I don't get kerosene all over everything in my building. And then I'll hang that up outside and let it really dry out. But I mean, some people overcomplicate siphoning. As long as you have what you're pumping into below what you're pumping out of, below the fuel level. And one thing that, I don't know where I ever heard of it, but just taking a smaller tubing, even though it'll take longer to fill up, you put a bunch of it down in your fuel container, feeding it in. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it needs to always be going down, and that lets it work the air out. Crimp off the other end, take it out and open it. Jiggler siphon, put it in there and just shake it a couple times, and it'll work the water up into it. And then these, you just pump until you get good water flow, or fuel, or whatever the case may be. But guys, I appreciate you watching. Like, share, subscribe, and that's just a little bit of siphoning 101. And remember, you need to be prepared to thrive while others survive.